From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training podcast, Miss Vicki.
Yes.
Anniversary episode.
Yes, it is.
Number 800.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Is the cat attacking you or something?
Yes, it is.
Okay, very well. You know what 800 means?
Yes, I do. It means we have a very good friend visiting.
That's right. Mr. Ross Bentley, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be back. When you said anniversary, I'm kind of like, oh, is there something going on here? Like,
Yeah, we celebrate, we got to come up with themes for each podcast. So, if we have every 50, we celebrate, that's 20 I don't have to think about for 1,000. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yep. Looking forward to our conversation. We always have fun conversations.
We do. We've got a blend this time. We've got some listener questions. We've got some I'm an idiot driver questions. We've got some other things. But first, I think if my memory works, which we both know it doesn't, I don't think we've actually talked to you on the podcast since our event at Pineview with you and Peter and Mario and Ian and Sam and everybody. So what were your thoughts going into the event, and what were your thoughts coming out of the event?
Well, unfortunately, my thoughts going into it were, oh my God, where am I even living? Because that was right like 2 weeks after we had just moved from where we were in the Seattle area back to home in Vancouver area. And anytime you cross a border when you're moving, it becomes a big deal apparently. So it was a big move, and it was. So my thoughts going into it was, am I ready for this? Am I prepared? So it was a bit of a scramble going in, but I will say, hey, every program has some glitches, but we had some amazing, cool, fun drivers to coach, and I think it went pretty well. We had some people going, wow, this made a difference. So I'm anxious to ask someone in particular how it went, from their perspective.
Well, as attending that event.
Oh, we could ask you.
Oh, that's right. You were there.
If there was any problems, then we didn't notice them.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be.
You probably were running like chickens in the background, but we never noticed. It was a wonderful, wonderful event.
It was, I don't know if you guys have talked about this on the show or anything like that, but the whole idea of it was to approach the typical driver development training kind of a thing from a completely different perspective. The usual thing is, hey, go drive on the track, and either I'll ride in the right seat with you, or I'll stand outside and I'll tell you to brake later or get on the gas sooner or something, right? But as you know, Vicki, it was a series of drills, different exercises, and
no, it was more than that.
Well,
it really, yes, the drills were there, but there was, I think what I got, and I remember most about it, was that it changed the way you think about racing. So, you can go for the drills and somebody's instructing you how to do it, and it's all based on time, and it's all based on, trying to drive that track and get a better line or a better skill. But this one actually, I mean, your perspective on it and the discussions that you were having was, if you tell yourself that you can do this, then you're going to be able to do this. But if you tell yourself you're not going to be able to do it, then you're not going to be able to do it. And I know that's a very old saying, but the way it was kind of wrapped in all the language that was being taught, it was like you can, the way I kind of walked away from it was is that you can actually be your worst self. You are what you tell yourself.
Mm.
And if you keep telling yourself on the track that, you can do this to push the limit, then you're going to be a much more to succeed at that. But it was wrapped up in a whole lot more other languages and a whole other, expressions and, and lessons. But I came away with it with a life lesson more than I came across with just racing. So yeah, it was pretty incredible. It was a pretty incredible event.
And she got faster, by the way.
I did get faster.
Okay. Well, at the end of the day, that's all we care about, right?
Yeah.
What's
Right.
our lap time? Yeah.
Screw this life thing. How fast did you go?
Yeah. Life.
Yeah.
Who cares about life? All that matters
Yeah.
is your lap time. No, you're not the first person to say that's what a big takeaway they got from programs like that.
Mhm.
And but I would say, we had 20 people there,
Mhm.
and
About that, yeah.
probably if I asked 20 people what their takeaway was, you'd probably get 20 different answers.
Mhm.
I think some of them was for some it was, oh, that drill that the no braking drill or whatever was just taught me about momentum in the corner. And then hopefully there were some that were going, well, the whole thing around mental programming, and then the belief
Mhm.
thing, and then so there are so many different parts that we sort of
Mhm.
bake into the thing, and everybody's going to take away something a little bit different. But
Yeah, I thought, and there was another thing that I remember most about it was the drill of the no brake drill.
yeah,
The no brake drill, and then coming back in on that. And
That's a tough track for a node brake drill too.
yeah.
hold on so we can edit that part out.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry, that was just it really kind of got me suddenly. But it was like, okay, you can do the no brake drill in that track. And yes, it was, very difficult, but it did teach you about scrubbing. And then I
Yeah.
remember pulling in, and you're just like, how was it? I said, it was great. I didn't, yeah, now go do it one gear higher. And I'm just like, oh, geez. And I drove off with it. But some of the drills were pretty amazing. And the other part was it was more than a normal track walk. There was more detail that I learned about to pick up. Yeah. So
For sure.
that was huge.
Yeah, one of the things that we that is a core part of the coaching that I do is I look at it as my goal is not just to help you be fast on that particular day on that particular track, but it's to give you the tools that you can apply wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
And the track walk is not here's how you drive this track. I hope it was more of, this is how you do a track walk to learn how to drive a track. And then all the different drills, exercises that we're doing, we're kind of designed to do that, where
Mm-hmm.
if it happens to make you faster around this track, great.
Mm-hmm.
But now you've got a bigger toolbox of things that you're at the next track and you're going, well, how do I deal with this? Oh, well, I've got more tools now to do that. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I would have to say, that those were the big things for me.
okay.
Is to properly understand the track. The mental mind setting your intentions for racing, what you tell yourself. Because I mean, the driving is a series of just laps, but and that's for every track, and just to keep going out and keep trying to get that one perfect lap. But there was a whole lot more involved in the language of racing.
Yeah.
So there was a lot more skills that went in there that I didn't experience in any other HPDE, and I would certainly do it again. Absolutely. I highly recommend it. It was so well put together. Um, and uh, kind of it was the first time I actually got it. I really wanted to learn data now,
Yeah.
which I never really, and that was a conversation that we kind of had was, when you're racing, you're dealing with so much stuff that's hitting you like a fire hose that there's no time for you to sit there and say, okay, now I'm going to do data. Well,
Yeah.
I think there's a time and place for data in your learning process. And now I'm at that point when I want to know data now. I want to see
Mhm.
how I'm driving and what I'm doing. So, and that's what I came away with. And
Yeah.
I made friends. I made friends there too.
Yeah. For me, at the end of the day, when I see the smiling faces,
hmm
it smiling faces from the fun they had, but also
hmm
from the wow, that was cool. That was a cool. And then, then you get some of the camaraderie that comes from those kinds of events.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, it was, so that program, I've kind of been doing it for 18 years
hmm
with a tied into something I do for a car manufacturer and their engineering people and things. And so all the pieces had been used before, and I've used it sort of like that, but it hadn't gone together like that in that 2-day program exactly that way.
hmm
And so, there's always you're doing something, you're going, well, I sure hope this works the way I hope it's going to work. And yeah, I was pleased with
hmm
the results from it. And um, it helps having guys like Mario and Ian and Peter and Josh and Sam there. I mean, like it, it was a for me to have that sort of team of coaches.
hmm
It was fun, and it's always nice to know that yeah, those
Yeah.
guys got it.
And we had our group was the first group that
Yeah,
came through for that event, and we had a really good group.
yeah,
Like there was
yeah.
a lot of camaraderie in that first group, and everybody got along really, really well.
And it is interesting how
And they were
we had people.
funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't remember because we did 2-day and then a 3-day, and I can't remember. We had somebody come from Southern California.
Yep.
hmm
I think he had
Uh,
Washington too.
We had
yeah, from
Mexico.
Washington, Mexico,
hmm
Florida. I mean, it was cool that people came from long distances. But at the end of the day, the common thread is these are people who want to learn and become better drivers. And it was just
hmm
it's sometimes I get up in the morning and go, how lucky am I? Like to get to do this, what I do is just, it's like the greatest thing in the world. So,
You
and on
know,
days like that, I will say we did 5 days straight. And at the end of that 5 days, that following morning was like, sure is nice not to have to get up at
Yep.
5:30 or whatever it was
hmm
Yep.
and,
Yeah.
and go flat out again all day long. But,
hmm
it was tiring, but wow, what a,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I just remember our group was a very receptive group,
yeah.
and they were very open-minded, I would
Well,
say.
and when we did the 3-day, I'm going to say there were a couple of drivers in there who early on I'm kind of thinking, geez, they're not really kind of buying into all this stuff. And
hmm
there was a little not pushback, but it wasn't like super open and well, I want to grab onto all this stuff. But as the days went along and we did various different things, and I remember, like the taller gear drill,
Right.
having a driver just go, wow, I never would have
hmm
expected that. Like it was a big aha, eye-opening moment for some drivers. And yeah, then it's like we're all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I
yeah.
would definitely do it again and
So
recommend it to anybody.
well, cool, because I'm going to do more of them.
Yay!
And my plan is to do more of them, but kind of move them around.
hmm
Uh, as I said, it's not meant to be, hey, we're going to teach you how to be the fastest driver at X track. It
Mm-mm.
was, it's, and I don't particularly even want to do these events at I'll call them destination tracks,
Right.
Rather than a Watkins Glen or a Laguna Seca or a Sebring or something like that, where people go, oh yeah, I want to learn how to drive that track. I don't want that. Like I want to go to some tracks that are lesser well known, and uh, so that people are coming for the right reason to learn how to learn to be a better driver rather than
That's it right there.
yeah. So I'm gonna do some more, and I've got two of them scheduled for next year already, and I'm gonna the next week or so gonna add a couple more and waiting on one other one. So the one thing I do not want to do, and this is hope this is taken the right way, is I don't want to be I don't want to do what Skip Barber does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be doing these every week. They're meant to be
Events.
intense events. They're intense. They're high, like they use a lot of energy.
They do.
And it's definitely not and again, I want this taken the right way. It's not a factory. It's not like let's run as many drivers through here as possible. It's meant to be the time to be able to adapt to the drivers. So that's why, I want to do a few of them every year. And, the only thing I know is that we'll keep getting better at doing them as well. So
you guys did well.
Yeah.
Yep.
You did.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And it's really fun to hear what people take away from it. And your insights that's really cool. Yeah.
You learn to drive. Learning to learn to drive.
Yes.
Indeed. It was quite fun. I didn't officially participate, but I was there, and it was a little bit of jelly.
Well, I was gonna say thanks, Bill, because you ended up playing a support role in many ways, and we really appreciated it. So,
well, I've run events before, and the first event is always, oh, I forgot, and I'm just like, whatever you need, I'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, really, really appreciate it, and it was a good time was had by all.
Indeed. And then they kept going because they had the Sims going in the evening. We had data reviews. I mean, it was everybody was starving until they were overfull, and then they fell asleep in the corner by themselves.
Yeah. So Vicki, the data thing, so why is it that you're looking at data differently now than before that?
I can answer that.
Oh, go ahead.
Because I'm not saying we should look at data. That's why.
Oh, okay.
No, not so much.
Oh, come on. It was funny.
No, not so much. I think part of it was because I had Alicia.
In
your car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was her name. They did the test run in my car.
Yes.
They did a reference lap.
Yes.
There was a reference lap that was done, and comparing my lap to her lap.
Yep.
I think that everything started to make sense to the next level of learning, because normally it's like an HPD, or if I'm racing or I'm working on the cars, and never can get around to the data part of it because everything is just so hectic. Or we forget to turn the cameras on, or we don't have the right cameras. But I think there was time to just look at it and then understand it when it was explained out to what it was.
Right.
And Bill's really not lying either when it comes to, racing in a marital sense. Because, it's like working. When you're together at work, when you're together at home, when you're together, and then you're together on the racetrack. And then sometimes it's good to have an outside source for certain things. because either the pressure to perform or the competition when it comes to that, or just feeling like a failure. And then, could have been just a bad argument that morning. And then now you're talking about, so, some things, um, I think that when it came and it was just the way it was delivered and it was discussed and
you were also, you might not have been ready for it because you were doing other
no,
things. So
yeah, and
everything comes with
again,
time.
Yep.
everything comes with fun, and
Yep.
part of it is just like the fire hose bit. You're running around like you're like a chicken, trying just to hold the team together and hold the cars together. And when you're running endurance races or when you're doing certain things, and sometimes you're just so exhausted to even sit down to look at data. So, but to have a designated time to look at data and do something is different.
So makes me, I've got to ask the question then, how do you as a team make better time or organize the weekends, the events that you're going to, so that you're able to do that? Because, you're not the only driver who goes, yeah, I don't have time to look at data. Well, why do you
Hmm.
have a data device in your car? You're just adding weight to the car and not getting
Right.
anything out of it,
No, you're
you
you're
know?
absolutely right. You're absolutely
So,
right.
so I guess, the question then is, well, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to
Hmm.
organize things so you're able to spend more time looking at data?
Sometimes it comes down to, I mean, if it's an official race and we're doing data on official race, which I don't think that's so great in the type of racing that we personally do. It doesn't really kind of fit. So it would have to be an HPDE, but it would be,
You don't, and for the endurance racing, you almost have to have a dedicated person there that's not a driver.
well, I
Yeah.
wouldn't even say that, but even if it's a dedicated person that their job, and it's always been down to that, is us getting our car and our team and our paddock to the track,
Yeah.
and on the track,
Yeah.
having a dedicated person like that is your job, is to make sure that the data is running, to make sure that the systems are set up, to make sure that it's going. Um, and that wasn't my job. I had no capacity for that part of the job, you know. So I think that's what have to be is the assignment and making sure that, oh, well, I didn't get to it is not going to be good enough, you know.
And, all the best intentions, things. So I just did the VIR champ car race,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and the whole thing was, especially, so Christian Maloof and Martin Duffy and I, like the three of us, we were going to have test day, and we were going to be able to go out and run and then, sit there that evening and really go through the data together and learn from each other. And of course, it snows and they cancel test day.
Hmm.
So, we start the race Saturday morning, and that gets Saturday night, and you're kind of prepping the car and everything else is going on. And we never once looked at data over the weekend. So
Hmm.
It
all the best
happens.
Yeah.
intentions, but yeah, yeah,
Sometimes it could be just like, especially if you're doing that kind of like leveled racing or not leveled
yeah,
racing, but endurance racing, it's just the exhaustion part of it.
yeah,
That it does take a lot of it. But for like an HPDE, or I wouldn't even say an HPDE, I would say just like a track day
yeah,
more so. Because even for an HPD, you only get 20 minutes, and how can you really determine that much with just that, you
right.
know? So you
Well,
need something more consistent. So I would probably do it for like um like a champ car, like an AER race, because you have more track time. You don't have to wrestle with traffic as much as you would for the Lemons racing that we do.
yeah,
I don't think you can get a really good read in Lemons race,
right,
but
right. But and it just reminded me of, like, when somebody asked me to coach them, I usually, well, a question or questions that I'll ask are, what's your number one goal? I mean, when you're looking at a driver, it's like, are you looking for outright speed?
Mhm,
Are you looking to improve your racecraft, that part of it?
mhm.
Um, is it something specific to the track? And I'm going, if you're looking for outright speed, I almost don't even want to, I don't want to come to a race to coach you because it's almost going to be a waste
Mm-hmm.
Right.
of the whole effort because
Mm-hmm.
you can't work on it there. A track day, where especially a track day that is mostly an open track day where, some track days are, okay, you go up every top of the hour, or, you have 4 sessions or whatever. But there are some track days that are pretty much, it's open track most of the day. Those are the best kind because, we can go run 4 laps, come in, let's debrief. Or now
Right.
go run 20 laps and work on. So there's that. But if it's if you're looking at, I want to improve my racecraft, well, sorry, but a track day isn't the right place for that. We got to go to a race.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then if it's specific to, I want to get better at driving Sebring, whatever, then yes, a track day at Sebring where we can just focus on just learning the track. That's going to be way more effective. So
Mm-hmm.
and if it's hey, I want to get better at using data, a track day would be a whole lot better thing, better place, a better event to do that with than
Mm-hmm.
a race because most
Yeah.
race weekends you're flat out, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're fighting for
Yeah.
your life in
Yeah,
some
yeah.
instances.
Flat out between sessions even.
Yeah.
Right.
It would
Yeah.
be different if, we did the type of racing where you have a crew that takes care of the car and maybe somebody who takes care of the food and maybe somebody else who, massages my little toes. But we don't
Why
have
don't you
that.
do that?
I
Why?
Mhm.
well, I'd rather do another race than pay for somebody to massage my toes, depending on the day.
I mean,
But
with all of your money
yeah, I
and your
know.
big racing budgets,
Yep,
and
yep,
like
yep.
you're
I
right
know.
up there with Roger Penske, right?
Every, he's called me for a tip or two, but I don't like to brag about that.
So going way back when I was driving Indy cars and driving for Dale Coyne Racing, which we had like 2% of Roger Penske's budget for the season, and we'd always joke around about the Penske Racing had different people doing different jobs, and there was one person's job who to bring just their job was to bring food to the crew. There was one person that brought pepperoni pizza. There was another person entirely who brought the vegetarian pizza. There was another person who brought the all-in pizza. Like
yeah,
they had so many people that they could specialize. So
yeah, we
Mhm.
don't,
we were
we
just
don't.
like, we get food?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, maybe they won't eat all the pizza.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. It's
It's just hard to get everything done. Eventually there's a limit, and you're done.
so yeah, so I've got to ask the question because you know that I like asking questions. You do,
But,
right?
yeah, it's 50-50 whether you come on and we ask a question, or 50-50 that you ask the question. So
Have
we're
I
used
ever
to it.
come on here and asked questions before?
Every single time, sir.
Okay, okay. So it's kind of the off season, right?
Hmm.
What are you guys looking at from a team perspective? Like, what is it? If you could just fix one thing, and fix is maybe the wrong term, but
Yeah.
one thing that you could do to improve the overall performance, you know, is it your braking, or is it the organization of the data, or is it the having better food to eat at the track, or is it getting to the track with less stress? Like when you look at it and stand back and look at it, because this is a good time to be doing that.
Yeah.
What is it going into next year that stands out right now?
Well, as you know, Ross,
You have a spreadsheet.
our food, yes, I have many spreadsheets actually, but our food game is pretty good. So we don't have
It,
to worry about that. You know,
yeah.
we got that one pretty much covered. The,
Popsicles.
yes. Well, if it's hot, we have popsicles. If it's
Yeah.
not hot, we have alcoholic popsicles. Wait, was that out loud? Anyway,
Yeah.
um, we tend to have a goals episode coming up. We're having trouble herding the cats right now, but where we go over and we break it down into two aspects. One is the driving aspect,
Mhm.
and one is the paddock aspect. And we tend to try to do both. So because they're mutually beneficial, but they're often very different. And a lot of for the endurance racing that we do, a lot of the best bang for the buck is not getting another 10th out of our lap time. It's saving a minute on a pit stop, or being able to go, an extra hour, or not getting a black flag, or, just keep the car going in circles.
Yeah.
Weird shaped
Well,
circles, but circles.
yeah. squiggly circles.
Yeah.
So just, having been at this Champ Car race recently and having competed in various uh, low budget, which is
Hmm.
really a kind of a relative term, right?
Yeah.
Low budget endurance
It's
racing from
it's a
WRL to AER to Lucky Dog to Champ Car. I've not done lemons, but when you look at all
we
those
can
things,
change that for you, Ross. I'm just
It's
saying.
chaos.
yeah, chaos.
You want to pass some cars? We've got lemons for you.
Yeah.
We can come up with something.
So when I go to these events, I see an awful lot of teams who put they have the wrong priorities.
Hmm.
They go looking for something that's going to help them find 3/10 of a second.
Yep.
And yes, their pit stops are a minute too long.
Yep.
Um,
That's a lot of
or
3/10 for the math challenged people at home.
yeah, I was with a team a few years ago, and I would see them work on the car. And when they were finished working on the car, the tools were essentially dropped right there. And
Gravity
Mhm.
then,
sorting. It's
yes,
yeah.
2 hours later, somebody's going, "Where's the 10 millimeter?"
Hmm.
And and then they spend like 3 minutes looking for the 10 millimeter. And
Hmm.
those things cost absolutely nothing. And I see a lot of teams that look to me like they're spending time on things that cost money
Yep.
and have a tiny little effect. And then some of the simple, no cost things, organizational things, they don't bother dealing with. And yeah, if there was one tip from this show, that would be my one tip. Stand back and look at all the little pieces
Yep.
and look at some of the most basic things because there's usually more there.
Yeah. Like if the car breaks, it doesn't matter if you were going a full second faster per lap.
Yeah.
The car is broken.
Yeah. Yeah. Simple as that. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a preventive maintenance plan? Do you have a preventive maintenance budget? Do you have spares?
And if you do have spares, where are they?
Yeah. Did you bring
Are
them?
they
Or are
are
they
they
at the
packed away
house?
in the front of the trailer that
Yeah.
if you need them in a hurry, it's going to take you time to find? Yeah.
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 Yeah. There's
Um,
all kinds of fun stuff.
yeah. Okay.
So
So
go ahead.
that's part of it. Okay. So this team meeting thing, you're looking at driving and sort of operational stuff.
Yes. We tend to, yes.
Hmm.
So we haven't had that yet. But from my perspective, I think uh, two of our cars need to be a little more reliable. One
Uh-huh.
of them is recovering from an on-track incident, and we only got to do a shakedown race, but it did pretty well. There's a couple things we need to do to refine it a little bit.
Hmm.
Mhm.
The other one's been a problem child for a couple of years, and it's more of our AER type car. So we need to get that one on the track and shake it down before we go to a race. I think those are the racing stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
We've been sorting out gremlins with that one for a couple years, but it's also because that we haven't necessarily put it on the track.
We've tried.
Yeah, we've tried to go to like a lucky dog. Um, I think you
We
did
did
AR with it.
we did a Lucky Dog. We did a Grid Life. We did two HPDEs, three HPDEs. There was a couple gremlins in there, that you
Hmm.
just can't do until you're at the track, and then you find it at the track. It's like, oh, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do in the somewhat legal capacity when you're not at the track.
Yeah.
Somewhat legal.
Well, we're at a race, we're at a airport, so there's some stuff we can do that, but you're not going to get 2 hour stints in on the runway. They're probably
Mm-mm.
going to get a little cranky with us. So
I was going
Yeah.
to say, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a shame about those planes that keep wanting to use your test
I
track.
know it's
You know what? Here's the thing, though. It's not the planes, it's the neighbors.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
because
Yes.
they're next to an airport, and our car, which is fully mufflered, standard, let's just
Mhm.
say an E46 330. That's the thing that's going to keep them up. The airplanes are fine. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a car, but
But yeah,
whatever.
but yeah, if we ask them like, hey, could we use the airport
The
to
airport's
do
fine. It's
Yeah,
the
the
people.
airport. It's a hobby port. And
Everybody wants to poop on people's fun. I don't know why.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had like they shut it down for a day and they did drag racing on it
Mm.
on the strip. It's a hobby port
Yeah. Yeah.
more than it is an airport. So does a
Yeah.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun though.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So
But yeah,
Ross,
so those are problem cars that we're sorting out. So we'll get it this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
so Ross, our listeners sent in some questions, and I thought we'd start with a nice, easy one. Right down the center, no controversy whatsoever. It's about racecraft. You ready?
I thought you were going to say, "What's your opinion of Max Verstappen" or something
No,
like
no,
that.
no, no, no. I wouldn't do anything argumentative like that. That could be,
Oh, come on. Okay.
clickbait type stuff.
Yeah.
It's regarding the racecraft. And it's a very simple question. Do F1 drivers have any?
Have any racecraft?
Yes.
Well, I have been known to make comments on the fact that I think there are F1 drivers whose racecraft sucks.
Yep.
Can I say that?
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not going to clip it or anything. You can say
Right.
anything you want.
Right. Okay. Okay. And I made the comment a while ago, and somebody got all upset, and because I'd said, I don't think Lewis Hamilton's a good racer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, like last year, Vicki, how many cars did you pass or be passed by in the whole season? What's your
Of the
wild
whole
guess?
of the whole race season.
Yep.
Yeah.
I probably passed about we had a very short season.
Okay.
So I would say 50
No, way more.
passed.
Yeah, way more.
Passed.
You've passed
Yeah.
way more than that. But that's a number.
And then
Yeah.
how many passed you? Another 50?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
From the
many
series.
how many passes did Lewis Hamilton make this year?
I don't know. How many, Bill?
3.
Now, like in F1, as you know, there's some strategy involved, and sometimes a pass
Uh-huh.
is made by the undercut or the overcut, and that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm not counting pit stop passes. Those don't
Yeah,
count.
yeah, yeah.
Racing
So,
passes.
so to me, the two best F1 drivers for racecraft
Mm-hmm.
by far,
I can
Fernando
guess.
Alonso.
Yep, that was one.
And who's the other one?
I think you're going to say Max.
No,
No?
Nico Hulkenberg.
Nico's good. Yeah.
And you know why?
He don't have the horses.
Both of them have spent time driving sports cars in World Endurance Championship, where it's
True.
multi-class.
Mm-hmm.
And now,
Mm-hmm.
I think Fernando Alonso has always been really good, and some of that's from all his karting stuff and everything. But the two of them are better at racecraft than the rest of them. Better than Max, better than Norris. I mean, like they're better. And part of it is just simply as an F1 driver, and even as you come up from F3 to F2 to F1, the nature of those series and that type of racing, there isn't a ton of passing. And that's why, like, the driver that I coached, I've been coaching for the past 7 years, who's racing LMP2 cars in IMSA and the World Endurance Championship, stuff like that. Guess what I get him to do on off weekends? He goes and does a WRL race or an ADR race or a Lucky Dog race or a Champ Car race or
It's traffic management.
Yes. And so do I think that F1 drivers have great racecraft? No, I don't. Again,
they're really fast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I will say that, I think Verstappen is better than some other ones.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that separates him from the rest currently is the bandwidth that he has, the mental bandwidth he has to process information. And again, I think the only driver that matches him, maybe and perhaps is better, is Alonso.
Yeah.
And Alonso just has so much experience. And interestingly, if you ask Alonso who's the best driver, he just goes Max by far.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
when you get guys like Alonso saying that Verstappen is better than the rest of us, that says a lot.
Yeah.
But that bandwidth is what helps so much with racecraft. There are some drivers that are hanging on for dear life, trying to eke out that last few hundredths of a second that they need per lap, and they've got nothing left to think about setting up passes and being passed. And then you get Alonso, who is like, I'm just gonna back the whole pack up behind me here and kind of, hold them back and everything, and let them use up their tires. And then there's a point where he goes, okay, now it's time for me to go. And like, he's just thinking like that so much. So
I remember the one race where he came over the radio and he started talking about what Lance was doing in the car that he was watching on the TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He is by far, he's a very special driver,
for sure.
I'm going to say, I rank him up there with some of the greats of all time. But some of the reasons why is just the bandwidth that he has. He thinks about, he sees, and yeah, some of that is just pure experience. He's been doing it longer than anybody else in F1 currently. So, but I do believe that, him even going and doing the Indy 500 just gave him a whole other way of thinking. And, and then the one season in World Endurance Championship, and, even him going and doing the Dakar rally thing, like, it just gets you thinking about the sport in different ways. And, I believe, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that is, I think, one of the reasons why Verstappen is so good is because of how much time he spends on the sim.
Yep.
And doing sim racing, not just, all F1 drivers spend time on a simulator. That's part of their job. But, Lewis Hamilton will get on a simulator when he has to, but all it is focused on him trying to turn a faster lap.
In his F1 car on the F1 track.
Yes. Right. Whereas you get Max, remember, I don't know when it was, a year or so ago, watching, he was in a MX5 race, at VIR in iRacing or something like that. And it was cool to see him learning how to race those things. So he's just got so much bandwidth because of that experience that he's got elsewhere.
Yeah. It's I mean, we are not saying they can't drive, because they can drive. It's they don't, like, even at my level, I can see stuff that's like, why didn't you,
Yeah.
And I couldn't do the rest of what they do, but that particular thing at my speed in my car, but anyway.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, one of the best things that has happened to our sport is the, again, relative term, low budget endurance racing. And, if their goal is to go doing sprint racing, you should go and spend time driving in endurance races where multi-classes.
Yep.
And within that class, you've got 8 different types of cars who might turn the exact same lap time, but they do it all in very different ways. And you've got to figure out how to pass them or discourage them from passing you.
Yeah.
Or sometimes let them go because it's going to help them elsewhere.
Yeah. Vicki's our chief ambulance chaser on the track. So she lets the fast car go and then she just rides their butt.
I do until I lose them. If my car can't keep up with them. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
They just part traffic. They just part the traffic for you because they already know who they are.
What about sometimes, though, going, no, you're going to have to catch me, and I'm going to go a little quicker than you, so you can't catch me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
There's a challenge for next year, okay?
Yeah. Though that would require me to have a faster car.
Sometimes we are undergunned.
Yes.
I get it. If somebody's
it's like a 93 Honda versus like an E46. The E46 is going to get me. I can get them in some spots, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's entertaining watching. So,
yeah.
All right. Audience question that I thought was kind of funny because, the F1 question was obviously right down the middle, easy one.
Yeah.
So the question goes, tires and weight transfer. Is that really all that this is about?
All life is.
That's kind of what I'm
All of
thinking. Yeah.
Tires and weight transfer.
That's where I went.
Normally, I would say, well, yeah.
Quite all.
In terms of driving a car at the limit, yes. Of course, there's what do you sense? Like, how do you feel that? How do you sense that?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're sensing something and you're going, we're not at the limit, then you've got to use more. And then there are times where you want to cause some weight transfer, which, as we know, the more weight transfer you cause, the less overall grip you have in your car. But there are times when you want to sacrifice or compromise a little of that overall grip to get the car to change direction. So it's managing weight transfer.
Right.
And then, I'd say there is another dimension, let's call it, and that is using the track.
Mm-hmm.
Because while I've been, many times I've said, drive the car, not the track, meaning I see so many drivers so focused on, I gotta find this perfect line through this corner. And I'm like, no, just drive the car at the limit. You'll be fine.
Right.
But some drivers will use the track in better ways. Particularly, let's say a corner that has some banking in it. And do you get into the banking earlier to use the banking, even though geometrically the line is not as good? Or do you drive a better geometric line, meaning a larger radius, but the track might not have as much grip in some of those places? So there is that other dimension of how you use the track and manage the track.
One thing I found, like when I was improving as a driver, which hopefully I still am, but we'll see. There was a couple times where I found out that I was at the limit, but it was self-imposed and not the car's limit.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it until after a good bit of driving instruction and experience to be like, oh, that wasn't the limit. That was what I did making the car be at the limit.
Yeah. So Bill, I got to tell you that the probably the most important part is the fact that you recognize that. And maybe somebody helped you recognize it, but the fact that you recognize that, you're aware of that, and you then start to think about managing that limit, because you can't do that unless you know that that's even a thing. Yeah. I mean, yes, you can come into a corner, upset the balance of the car, and now the car is driving. You're at the limit, but you created that artificially low limit.
Yep.
And let's go back to Formula One here for a minute. And let's pick George Russell and Kimi Antonelli in the two Mercedes F1 cars.
Ross, can you let me by? I'm faster. Ross, can you let me by? I'm faster. Ross, can you let me by? Oh, sorry. That was my George Russell impersonation.
Yes. By the way, if I had my way, I would basically, if I could go to a Formula One drivers meeting, I'd just stand up and say, guys, quit your whining.
Yeah.
Oh, so much drama.
Yeah.
Quit being so emotional.
Yeah. Just quit just stop whining and just drive. Okay.
Well, they're all a bunch of kids if you think about it.
Yeah.
They really are.
That's true.
They're a bunch of kids in fast cars.
I'm dying for George's radio guy to say, if you're faster, then pass him.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, you get two drivers like that, or, Lando and Oscar, like there's a great pairing, right? And the cars are about as equal as any cars can be made to be, right?
Right.
Why is one driver a tiny bit quicker than another driver on a particular weekend? And is it that one's just decided I'm not going to drive the car at the limit?
That would
No,
be
it's
no.
no, yeah, it would be really dumb. It's they're trying to not only drive the car at the limit, but make that limit as high as possible. And that's where the magic happens. And when people say drive smoothly, well, part of driving smoothly is so that the limit of the car is higher. The limit of the tires in car is higher because you're causing less weight transfer. But another way of not causing a lot of weight transfer is drive around the track at 1 mile an hour. Not a whole lot of weight transfer happening at that point.
I got lots of grip too.
You got lots of grip.
I can do anything you want with that car. You tell me you want me to turn here, no problem. I got it.
Yeah, yeah. So again, that's what everything we do in a car and a track. It's all about finding that right compromise and the right balance between the question of the tires and weight transfer is there are times where I'm going to give up overall grip because I need to get the car to rotate and change directions. And other times where it's like, I don't need to change direction dramatically. So all I'm going to focus on is balancing the car as best I can. And every now and then, in fact, I wrote about this recently is because somebody asked a question about what's the silver bullet? What is it? What's the one thing I need to do? Sorry, there isn't, doesn't exist. Not in our sport.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So the one thing that I've done is I've quoted you many, many times in the past, and I have I even set you up one time with one of our podcasts where I said Ross is finally going to tell us the secret, the thing that all the drivers won't ever do, because it's just that they're better at doing the basics than we are.
Yeah. 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 On one hand, you go, wouldn't it be great if we just found the secret?
That would be lovely. It's never the secret.
But it would also, I think if we had that, wouldn't we quit and go on to something else?
Very boring.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, everyone can do it. Like
now I'm done. I've reached the end. I'm finished.
And taking this on a bit of a tangent here, but I'm kind of like, well, isn't that what AI is trying to do with our lives?
Seems that way.
Yeah. Anyways, not going there.
Well, it's okay. We can rattle on. We got lots of questions. Miss Vicki, you got one that you like?
I wanted to go back to when you guys were talking about balancing the car and, traction and all that kind of stuff. There was something that you said during the event, and I'm kind of having a hard time wrapping my head around it. And it came down to one of the habits that I was trying to break. And it was waiting for the car to settle. Because at one point I had gone off the track and I hit a hill. It was kind of like Mid-Ohio kind of has like the carousel. So it's kind of like a little bit of a hill. It's off camber. And going around there, but I was on a different type of track. I would have to wait for the car to settle before I punched the gas. Coming up and around the hill, I knew that I had a bunch of, my car was very light because I've gone up and now I'm kind of a little bit hovering right now and coming down. And you guys had said something, why are you waiting for the car to settle? Make it settle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a hard time wrapping myself around that concept. What does it mean when you guys have told me that? It's like you are waiting for something to happen before you proceed in your steps, which is what I was taught. But you're just like, make your car do what you want it to do. And I can't wrap that.
So
You're not good at rapping.
so
Chicka chicka.
if and I can't think of or recall the exact scenario what we're talking about, or a situation or anything like that, but let's say you come to a section of track that you come into, and the car sort of goes down a hill and then comes back up, and there's a bit of a compression down there, like, and the car really settles
Yeah.
into the track, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And if you've been around the track once before,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of know that it's going to do that again the next lap, and
Yeah.
the next lap, and the next lap.
And they're
So
fun ones.
yeah, um, it's kind of, so then it's like, well, predict where that grip's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
and then rather than wait for it to have grip, predict that it's going to have grip there and start to apply the throttle that much,
Just before it. Okay.
just that fraction of a second before it, because you know that it's going to be able to take it, because in that fraction of a second from now, from the time it takes your brain to say, hey, foot, go to the gas, push down on the gas pedal, your
Mm-hmm.
foot to actually do that, some amount of time has passed. If
Mm-hmm.
it's 3/10 of a second, how far have you traveled on the track in 3/10?
Right.
And so it's you probably heard the term be ahead of the car.
Right. No, actually I haven't, but I do
But
now.
that's kind of the idea, is don't just wait for the car to do something and then react to it. Be proactive with it.
Okay.
And yeah, and if we, it's one of the great things, that one of the impressive things about what rally drivers do.
Mm-hmm.
While they might have, they've done the recon thing, and they've kind of seen the stage, the road where it goes. They don't have the same recall and the ability to predict things like we do, who drive around on road race circuits, right?
Right.
Um, so I think, hopefully that's kind of getting to your question, is just spend more time thinking about what can you predict the car is going to do,
Okay.
and be proactive with it rather than just wait. And when somebody improves their car control,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of talk about car control. Well, that's when the car starts to slide and you catch it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having to react to things all the time, you're behind the car.
Okay.
You are reacting, like, so people with good car control, I don't know, 90% of good car control is the ability to predict that you're going to need some.
See, I just learned something today.
What
I
was
learned
that? Have Not have any more
no,
podcasts? No.
no, no, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for
Thanks for
coming.
coming, Ross.
Yeah. Okay. Gotta go.
Vicky finally learned something on
Yeah.
this podcast. It's taken
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
800 episodes. We did it.
Yeah.
I knew there was something she didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot I still don't know, but
Yeah.
that is I mean, we already kind of know, but it's just trying to get onto it before. And like you said, just try
Well,
not to be reactionary or try to be
proactive.
proactive.
Yeah. And it's really easy. Believe me, it's really, really easy for me to sit here and say that.
Oh,
It's a
it's not
lot
easy
harder to
to
actually
do.
do it.
I know.
But if
See,
you
this
go
is
in with
car
the
craft.
yeah, if you go in with the mindset of, I'm going to predict, I'm going to be ahead of it, I'm going to, like you said in the very beginning, sort of one of the takeaways from the driving academy program was that ability to, like, think ahead,
Hmm.
know that you can do it. Sometimes it's a choice.
Yeah.
You go, I'm going to be ahead of the car. I'm going to predict it. And
Hmm.
yeah, so um, you can do it.
You are what you tell yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
You really are. That's one thing that that after coming through that, and I just want to say with the life lesson that it kind of came out from it was that I was kind of looking around at some of the certain situations that were going on around me. Um, the best way of putting it. And I had to just come out to the person and say, You are what you tell yourself. And if you keep telling yourself this is what's always going to keep happening. You're always going to expect the bad things.
Yeah.
If you keep telling yourself the bad things are going to keep happening, start telling yourself the good things, that you can do these things. And it just kind of opened up a whole door for me. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It meant a lot. And
cool.
it beyond racing, but it was in
Yeah.
my racing also.
Yeah. Actually, it hit me. If you happen to have me on a podcast again sometime,
It's coming, Ross. Don't worry.
you know what we could do? We could do a whole show on life lessons learned at the track.
Oh, that would be good.
And we just, think about it beforehand and we get on and go, like, one that I don't want to give it away now, but because I've got to use it next. No, but like you're going past an apex of a corner and you miss it. You can't go back and get it. Move on.
I mean,
but you're going to be, but you can't keep thinking about that same thing the whole track.
Right. You got to move on. One of the greatest things I think we learn from this sport is let it go. Somebody chops you off in traffic and you want to hunt them down and kill them. And it's like, let it go. Let it go. Made that mistake, let it go. I'm not saying don't learn from it, but don't get hyper focused on it and like, oh my God, I made a mistake back there. I made a mistake back there. You can't turn your car around and go back and get it. Like, just deal with it next lap.
I think one of the ones that I had, and there's going to be many, but I'm going to share the one. And it was a very early on. They're like, don't look at the turn. Don't look at the apex. Because by the time your tire has crossed that apex that you're looking at, you got 3 more tracks, 3 more turns ahead of you. It's already done. It's gone.
Yeah.
So don't look there. Yeah. Don't look there.
Let it go. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's
there's many.
That might be kind of fun.
Many ahas.
Yeah.
I already have an outline for episode 350, Ross. We're good to go.
350?
850. Did I say 350? I don't know. I'm not used to talking
I'm
this long.
like, whoa.
I'm going back in time.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm still just blown away by the fact that you guys have done that many shows.
So is Vicki.
I tell you.
Yeah.
She's like, I said yes. Why did I do that? Why?
Well, no, the funny thing is Bill started a chess podcast.
Pretend you have a mic, sweetie.
Yes. So Bill is also playing chess. He's playing high-level competitive chess.
No, Bill's playing bad chess. But
okay, but he is involved in that also.
I think we talked about this once before. It's like, Bill, do you ever sleep?
It's a waste of time. I got stuff to do.
But seriously, he's like, do you want to do a podcast? No, I don't. I have enough jobs right now, but I don't want to have a podcast too.
Let me think about it. No.
Another one. I'm not even involved in chess. So I'm going to bring in one of your chess people.
Chess heroes in training?
No. Late to chess. I thought it was rather humorous.
Oh.
So it's fun.
Okay.
All right. Listener question number, I don't know. I didn't count. Since you raced in Indy cars, could you describe the difference between an Indy car and a well-sorted GT car? Or is it indescribable? And does racing each help or hurt the other?
Okay, well, let me start.
We have smarter listeners than we have hosts. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, those are good questions. All these. The first thing I'm going to say is that I think it's pretty rare that if somebody has driven GT cars, production-based cars, GT cars, even, latest and greatest GT3 cars, if somebody has driven those cars and then they get into open wheel cars, it's way harder for them to get to be great in an open wheel car than if it's the other way around. If somebody's good in an open wheel car and they get into GT cars, they're usually pretty good as well. So if somebody said, I don't know where I was going, you know, I want to be in racing, if possible, spend time racing an open wheel car, because the single biggest thing is the reaction the car has to your inputs. And you know, a big exaggeration here. In a GT car, you turn the steering wheel, and half a second later, the car does something. In a Indy car, or any kind of, mostly pretty much any kind of open wheel car, or purpose-built race car, even prototype cars are more like this. You turn the steering wheel, and it's a tenth of a second later, the car responds. So some drivers have a difficult time adapting to how responsive the car is. You would think, wow, that would be great. And for a lot of drivers, it is. It's you know, it's one of the things that I like about driving a purpose-built race car is it's just more responsive. And, you know, it's almost like I think and the car does it. Whereas in a GT car, I have to, going back to what we were talking about just a few minutes ago, Vicki, is I have to anticipate how the car is going to respond. And if I want the car to do something there, I may have to do something now to make it do it there. Like I've got to anticipate the lag. And you know, anybody that's driven a good GT car knows there's not a whole lot of lag there. Like I'm not saying it's slow and sluggish. It's not, you know, you're not driving a 1965 Buick. But that's kind of the first part of it. The second part, I guess, is the overall movement in the car. In a GT car, you feel the motion of the car. You feel the weight transfer. The chassis moves more. You get into an Indy car or a, you know, if you drove a Formula One car, if you drove a prototype car, the car doesn't move a lot. And somebody coming from GT cars into that, they're going, the car is not giving me the feedback that I'm used to. And it's a little bit harder to sense that. But once you find that communication, that how much the car is moving means this, you become more sensitive to it. And that's why when you get into a GT car, you go, well, this is easy. This thing's giving me lots of information. So you know, those are the first two things. You know, then at some point, you know, certainly a difference between an Indy car and even, like, you know, the best, latest and greatest, quickest GT car on the planet right now. The aerodynamic downforce is different. And, you know, especially at super high speed, you know, Indy car at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, when you turn into turn one at whatever, you know, you're getting up to speed and you turn into turn one at 215 miles an hour and the car moves around and you go, if I go 1 mile an hour faster, I'm going to die. I'm going into that concrete wall so hard, I'm going to die. So let's go 10 miles an hour faster, because then I'll have more aerodynamic downforce. It'll push the car in the track and I'll go around the corner easily.
Piece of cake.
And that
how hard can it be?
That mind game, that thing of just, you got to trust it. You got to trust it. Just do it. You know, Alonso, when he first went to Indianapolis and drove an Indy car, you know, he made that comment about, you know, sometimes your brain is not connected to your foot. You know, you turn into the corner and your foot wants to lift off the gas pedal when your brain says you should be able to go through there. And that's what's going on. So in terms of the difference between an Indy car and you know, the best GT car on the planet currently, that's a big part of it. That, you know, same with a Formula One car, even more downforce. So that it's a weird mind game, that one. Trying to get yourself to trust that it's going to stick. And especially, again, they don't move around a lot. It's not like it's like, oh, we're going to slide a little bit and then I'll catch it. No, like it's tiny little bit and boom, you're gone. Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah. Oh, it's so I, again, kind of going back to the second part of that question of what's best to learn. Imagine if you have the ability to sense an IndyCar, that subtle movement that tiny little subtle movement that it makes that
Mm-hmm.
then says make an adjustment, breathe the throttle or give it some throttle or tighten the steering or open the wheel or something like that. When you get that sensitive, you hop into a GT car and it's like, that's easy because things are just moving that little bit slower. And,
Yeah.
you know, Max Verstappen goes and hops in a GT car and and gets on the Nürburgring, right? And immediately is like seconds faster than people who've been driving the Nürburgring for decades.
Mm-hmm.
So his ability to sense a limit in that GT car is, yeah, just another level than most drivers have. But if you took the very, 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 very best GT driver driving at the Nürburgring and stuck him in the Max's Formula One car, he's going to be a ways off.
Hmm.
I don't even think I'd get to where the brakes work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ross, what would you recommend everybody be doing in their off season?
Um, Laying around, eating a lot of food.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Yeah, yeah, just laying around doing nothing, watching a lot of TV, stuff like that. I don't know. I've never tried that, so uh, uh, that's a huge question, Vicki, because it's just,
Preference?
well, I was going to use my favorite phrase.
It depends.
It depends. Depends
It
on.
depends.
So maybe the very first thing is take some time to reflect on the season that you've just gone through, thinking about what worked, what didn't work, what could be done better, what are you doing well. And by the way, the what worked and what am I doing well is as important or maybe more important than the what do I need to do to improve. But taking time, that's the very first thing. It's just taking time to sit back, reflect, think about it, make some notes because the act of writing things down, think through, watch some video, look at your data if that's you're at that point, and that's the very first thing I think, because I don't know how many people are on listening to the show, but they're all going to be different, and and sometimes it's what can I do better? Well, the team needs to get the car to the track earlier so I don't miss practice, like those kinds of things. But take some time to do that. Then think about, well, how do you address those things? And obviously the stuff that I do, online is meant to help people prepare as much as possible, so that they make every second they have on track more efficient, more effective. And
Mm-hmm.
so, whether it's stuff I'm doing, whether it's reading a book, watching a video, watching races, I don't know. So there's two ways to watch a race. One is as a spectator and just go, well, that's cool and exciting. Another one is, what can I learn from this? Every single race I ever watch on TV, I'm sitting there thinking, what can I learn from this? And, kind of go into what you talked about earlier, Bill. You watch an F1 race sometimes and go, why did they do that there? Why didn't they set up for a pass differently there? And sometimes you might go, well, they're just idiots. And every now and then you go, you know what? They're thinking about something differently. So
Right.
it's trying to figure that out. And so I guess the off season is time to reflect, think about what you could do better, prioritize those things, do a lot of mental imagery, visualization of the things you want to improve, take time to study, and every now and then, sometimes just lay on the couch, watch TV, and eat something, because sometimes we can get so caught up in our sport that nothing else matters. And one of the things that I learned, kind of life lesson thing, is there is a balance. You can get too caught up in the sport, and sometimes when you relax and let go, you do better. So, and what one of the things to ask yourself is, this season, when you drove at your best, what kind of mindset were you in? What were you what was your head like at that point? And think about that and then go, okay, I'm going to imagine myself being in that same headspace mindset more often going into next season, and get into that. And I'm big on add a trigger word, mindset, boom, let's go. And so do some programming of how you want to perform next year.
Sounds like we got work to do, my dear.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Piece of cake. How hard can it be?
Well, and then eat the piece of cake.
Yeah, that too.
No.
You know what? What I haven't figured out, Ross, about when I watch TV, especially F1. I figured out some of the stuff the drivers are doing. I figured out some of the stuff the teams are doing, the mechanics and everything. I got a good handle on many of those. Not all, but many. I have yet to figure out what the director is looking at. Because sometimes it's just like there's this huge drama going on, and we're looking at, the crowd. I'm like, but there's like one pass this whole day, and you're not looking at it.
Yeah. Or because of the controversy, a few races ago, they do a close up of the driver's girlfriend.
Yeah, and always good.
Carlos Sainz criticized the TV coverage for that. So
yeah, he seems like a good guy.
Yeah, I'm going to say one thing about Formula One drivers: they're all good guys.
Yeah.
And
why wouldn't they be?
The way they come across, sometimes they don't appear to be that way. And, Max Verstappen is famous for that. Have you spent any time with people who are Dutch, who are very blunt and to the point? They can be the nicest people in the world, but sometimes it's just like, whoa, So anyways, that's my.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Bentley, thank you for coming on again. Always
my
great.
Pleasure. Yeah. Always. Now we just
learn a little bit more each time.
Absolutely. We finally got something Vicki didn't know.
And I learn something every time too. Get the chance to think about it while I talk about it. So thank you for that. Yeah.
All right. Well, we can't wait for our next episode with you. We can't wait to see you in person, and maybe at the next Speed Secrets Academy event.
Yes.
In TBD.
In TBD. Yes. To be announced.
Coming soon.
I'm going to say early 26. Early 2026. Yeah. Yeah.
Very well. Much like my beautiful bride's aged, early 26. Anyway.
Yes.
Got to suck up where you can, Mr. Bentley.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Ross.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ross.
Happy holidays, if depending on when this runs and all that kind of stuff, or you've had happy holidays. One of the two.
It was a great holiday, Ross.
Okay, great.
Thanks again.
Okay, thanks. Have fun.
Right.